Hello and welcome to the wonderful world of writing WA, where today I'm delighted to be talking with Jane Seaton, the owner, founder, spiritual inspiration behind Beaufort Street Books. Welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thanks, Laurie.
So talk me through how we find ourselves today in this wonderful new space for Beaufort Street Books. What was the journey like from you previously a couple of shops down the road? Tell us a bit about the idea behind getting into this new space and where you went from there.
So probably would have been at least 2 years ago, we sat down, the staff and I, and said, what can we do to increase business, because we're going nowhere fast.
Yeah.
People know it's tough to run a small business, but it's particularly tough to run a bookstore. I'm not 100% proud of it, but I pretty much hadn't been paying myself in the whole time we'd had it, which is now 14 years.
Yeah.
And putting money in, which a lot of small business owners do.
Yeah, of course.
But in the location that we were in, we were set back from the street. There were stairs, and it was a pretty small space. And we did in-store events, but it was. You've been there.
I've been to many an event. Yeah.
Once you get to about 50 people, it's pretty tough.
Intimate's a good word for what that previous shop was like. Yeah, very cozy.
But that was about what we were. That was a core thing of what we did. Was bridging the reader and the author, and being that middle bit that allow them to share the written word.
Yeah.
And we wanted to keep doing it. So we wanted a larger space, and we kept on looking, obviously because we're Beaufort Street Books, we wanted to stay on the street.
Yes.
But I wasn't opposed to moving elsewhere.
Yeah.
And
so what kind of spaces did you look at before the one we're currently in?
So we looked at where Messina is now.
Oh, yeah.
But that needed a whole lot of rejigging and redesign to it. We looked at the massage place, which is where Yochi is now.
Oh, okay, yep.
That was bigger than we wanted, and so we would have had to sublet off some area and lease that out.
And you didn't consider going into like a frozen yogurt or an ice cream at that point?
No, it seems like there's all these yogurt places. We also looked up where the old NAB building was up near the post office.
Oh, yes, I remember that area. So it's up closer to Walcott, just past Walcott Street, yeah.
So we looked at a number of spaces, but it was always getting it to look like and be about this size.
Yeah.
Because we sort of thought this would be great. It's a perfect size. But the business that was here, we thought they were completely wedded to the space.
Yeah.
So we didn't even think of it.
And that was like an antiques and collectibles?
It was
a furniture kind of place?
Yeah, it was a furniture place.
Yeah.
But we looked at a number, we put in submissions to all these other locations, and we weren't successful, and we'd sort of given up on it. Until I had a couple of customers that came in, did you see the place on the corner's up for lease? And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, next thing.
I know.
This is where we are.
And my main worry about this space being it's a wonderful space, but it's also on the corner of a busy intersection, and I was worried about a car coming through. But I noticed that there's that wonderful
statue there.
Metal statue to deter cars from coming.
We have actually considered speaking to the council about maybe a bollard there, because we don't want anything to happen.
It's too beautiful.
Yeah,
too beautiful a space. And so you had a really interesting way of getting all the books from one version of the bookstore, the previous intimate version, to this now spacious super comfort version of the store. So talk us through that idea and how you came about it.
So in the store we have a combination of fixed shelving, but also mobile shelving like this, so that we can do events in this space and move everything out of the way. And so the fixed shelving was due to be moved on a Monday, and I thought, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
Like, we're only going 50 metres. It seems ridiculous to get a removalist in and all that sort of stuff. So we moved everything out of the mobile shelving to the back hallway. And then we moved the mobile shelving down here. And then we thought, well, let's have a human conveyor belt. So we put the call out on the newsletter. Within a week, we had like 150 people registered. And we're like, okay, we've got enough now. But these people will be hungry. So anyone that wants to bake anything, that will be awesome as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So then we had all this food, and Mum and I made some sausage rolls and cookies and stuff. So we had 150 people rock up. And they lined from that shop. I think you were at the front of the line.
I was at the front of the line in the old bookstore, passing the boxes through.
And we thought, okay, there's going to be different strengths here. So we need small boxes. So we went to the bottle-o and just got all the empty boxes we could from them, which did look like we were moving an awful lot of wine down. No, it was not wine. And no, we did not drink everything that was in these boxes.
Yeah.
But it was perfect because we had 2 lines.
Yeah.
At any one time, there could have been 20 boxes going down.
That's right. I found them flying out the door.
They were flying out the door.
Flying out the door. And the other thing that was funny was at one point, Annabelle Smith, local author, came through with a series of baked treats for the people in the line.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember going to pass a box and a woman just getting a muffin and like stuffing it in her mouth so she could pass the box through. So, and there was also a lot of kids, and they were wearing like the hats.
The red hats, which we had for an event we did with Sean Avery with Frank's Red Hat.
Oh, okay.
And so they were left over from that. And I thought, well, maybe people want to wear a red hat. And as you saw, Jan Nichols, favourite colour red.
Yep.
So she was sporting a red hat as well.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And I found when the kids would bring the empty boxes back, what would happen is we'd all give them applause and cheers as well. So they loved that coming through.
They loved it.
Cheers.
And they were literally... Once the books arrived here, they either went on one side, which was non-fiction or fiction or in the kids' area. And then once the boxes were emptied, the kids are racing them back through the back of the shop into the old shop to get filled again.
Yeah, yeah.
And they loved the job.
Well, I was impressed with the people actually packing while we were boxing, because we were boxing like fiends. And I think, both myself and the other person at the front of the line took pride in that heavy, light, sort of movement thing that went on. So obviously... I'm lucky enough to clock off at that point when all the boxes have gone to the new store. How long did it then take to get the new store set up the way you wanted it?
Well, they were loosely in some sort of alphabetical arrangement.
Yeah.
But not really. So Monday, the shelves got moved and we then reopened the shop on the Thursday.
Yeah, wow.
With the shelving... on this side of the shop, basically in position.
Yep.
We then were able to free up the mobile shelving to also use on the other side of the shop because the new shelving didn't get installed until only a couple of weeks ago on that side of the shop. But we were trading as of Thursday.
Wow.
It was interesting trying to find things.
Yeah, it's an incredible space.
It is beautiful. I'm really proud that we created something so beautiful to honour the natural light that comes in through these windows, and it really, we feel really proud and just it's lovely to be in this space and to see people walking in. We've had, I think it was only this week, someone came in and said it's very London.
Finally, yes.
And someone said it's very Melbourne. It's like, it's actually very Perth.
It is very Perth. It's something that a cafe might have a bigger space to do, but bookstores historically in Perth have often been quite tight and rents or something like that. I guess the other thing that's really exciting about a space this open is how it opens up potential for events. So do you want to talk us through, I guess, events that have just been and some that are coming up? Yeah,
we did a complaints night with Annabelle Smith, local author, and there were a few local authors in here.
Yeah, I was here. Yep, I enjoyed that.
It was a lot of fun. It was basically, it's a stand-up comedy night, and we had, I think, 104 seated in this space then. So to be able to hold events like that is amazing. We sort of loosely we're saying if it's a cocktail style event, we think about 120. Our very first event was actually with Matthew Evans, the gourmet farmer from Tasmania on Fat Pig Farm, and had a book out titled Milk. And we had previously done an event where Vince from Il Pelo, I may not have pronounced that correctly, but part of the slow food movement. And so he bought his wood oven. Wow. And had that out the front here.
See,
and he
that's
catered.
the potential, right?
Yeah. was amazing.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, to me, it's an events made space. So it gets very exciting very quickly. And the other thing I liked about the complaint letters event was it was quite a performative event. So I really enjoyed, I know Annabelle and a friend of Annabelle's did a revisiting of Physical by Olivia Newton-John, but with actually analysing the susness of the song. And that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
So 14 years is a long time. That's what we're talking for both.
14 years, yeah.
So 14 years, what have been the changes you've seen in bookselling in that?
Wow. Gee, that's, how long have we got? I think the industry as a whole has changed a lot. I mean, obviously with the collapse of the Red Group.
Yep.
And then just in the past 12 months, the sort of shake up with the large online retailer as well, which has now been repurchased. But I think, you know, you threw COVID in there as well.
Yes.
I think that people were really scared when they saw the Felice sign outside the window that we were closing. And it was a consideration of mine.
Yeah.
But I think with everything that's happened over the 14 years, there is certainly a passion for supporting local.
Yeah.
You know, we as consumers have the power to basically mould what we want our living environment to be. If you want a bookstore on a key location like this, then you need to support it.
Yes.
If you want a restaurant to be there and for the chef to remember your name,
then you
need to support it.
Yeah,
so whilst technology has enabled us to have access to a lot more things, I still think that, you know, supporting the businesses and the environment that you want is your key role as a consumer and a person living in an environment such as this.
I think it's a really good point about connection and community, and I guess also discovery. I found myself today coming back into the space, seeing books I wasn't aware of, and it wasn't an algorithmic thing, it was a vision and perception thing. So I wasn't being told what to look at. There was just a bunch of ideas I might explore and feel drawn to. And so I think you're right, that from a human being level and a discussion level as well, talking with the people in the store about the different books, about the different authors. And for me, when all those people showed up to move the bookstore, I can tell you now, when I volunteered to help move, I figured we'd be talking a handful. Like I thought we'd be talking 10, 20 people would
not
do
150.
that and not 150. So I was blown away. And certainly as someone who used to walk Beaufort Street as a young man and feel quite lonely, it's been really exciting, firstly, to have that period of time when the Beaufort Street Festival was a thing. Like that. And then also to just see this sort of street grow its own identity. There's always challenges with that. But I think you're right. Independent retailers, cafes, everything else, they bring a different flavour to things.
They do, yeah.
And they listen as well.
And I think, you know, probably the most lovely thing about moving with the community, they actually are a part of it.
Yes.
They are forever stamped as being somebody that helped move a bookshop.
Yeah, that's right.
And so they've helped create this space. And it's them that will help keep it going as well.
And so we're coming up to Love Your Bookshop Day. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. I think you've got a pretty big event coming up tomorrow night too. Do you want to talk us through that?
Oh yeah, we've got our inaugural
quiz night.
Quiz night.
Should be fun.
And Annabelle Smith is our quizmaster extraordinaire.
My goodness. I mean, this is an active author, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's kind of impressive to see her show up and be a really big part of it too. Yeah. She's
chosen all the questions.
Great.
For this one, being the first one and seeing I've been a little busy moving a bookshop, we've got a good crowd and we will be covering costs.
Yeah.
But we actually want to make this an annual thing. I think it will be.
Yeah, I think so.
And it actually... we're quite passionate about supporting Indigenous literacy, but I really want to make this something that we devote funds to mental health organisation.
Wonderful. I love that.
I really, I'm quite passionate, and I think reading a book is one of the perfect forms of mindfulness that you can do. And so it does have a natural fit with mental health.
Absolutely.
And so, the quiz night will be an annual event.
Yeah, lovely.
I think we might not be able to fit in St Albans Hall next year. It might need to be in a larger venue, which would be great.
Perth Town Hall.
Perth Town Hall, why not? Maybe we could close the street off and do it in the street.
Well, I guess the other thing that's kind of underrated with people starting up their own business and even continuing their own business is, like you say with the quiz night, you do it and you tweak and you make it grow into what it's going to become. But I know certainly in my time at Writing WA, what's really sort of been an enlightenment for me is this idea that you do it. You get it started, you get the ball rolling, and you learn and you pick up things along the way. So, I mean, I imagine you've had the other thing I thought about the other day, you've had a number of authors work in your store too. So what are some of the people that people might recognise that were once...
probably the most notable was Brooke Davis.
Of course, Lost and Found, 2014, a wonderful book.
Yeah, and a wonderful author and wonderful person in general. But yeah, geez, some of the authors that we've had just through the space to do events, like Maggie Beer, we did a stand-up cocktail party style in the tiny shop. Where we had the chef out the back preparing all the food in the car park.
Oh, wow.
We did one with Bill Granger, which was lovely as well. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us.
Were there anyone you were starstruck by when you met them for the first time?
Just never.
Except me, of course.
Oh, well, you, of course. I think probably... I would say a little bit starstruck, but we did have Tim Winton in the shop.
Yeah, that's,
and he has a new book coming out soon, Juice, which, I'm really excited for. I think Tim, pens a book probably every 10 or so years, and when he does, he's got something to say.
Yeah.
And funny, we had an event in there, and Brooke had her book out. And there's a lovely photo that we've got of Tim down on one knee asking Brooke to sign her copy of the book and being totally sticker envy with how many awards Brooke had won. And, I think that sort of says a lot, that every author, they put their book out into the world, which, as you would know, it's a scary thing.
Of course.
Once you do that, it's no longer yours. But you're people, and you're trying to say something.
Yes.
And that, as readers and as booksellers, that's what we're wanting to pass on to the reader as well.
Yeah.
It's a privileged position to make that connection between readers and authors.
I think you're right that you facilitate us getting to know authors quite often too. So I recently went to the MB event at the old Beaufort Street Books. Quite a lovely person to meet as well as a wonderful author. And so, there is something special, given we've got more of a celebrity-based book culture, which is part of the machine too. But to me, my most memorable events are those ones where I feel a genuine connection, not with as a buyer of the book, but as a witness to this person's life coming to the page, their journey. So I think that there's many stories have been told in this bookstore. There's many stories still to be told. And just congratulations on finding the perfect space for your vision and your dream. And if anyone wants to come down here, please welcome Beaufort Street Books. It's the corner of Beaufort and Vincent. Does it have a street number?
567, same number that we were there.
Wow. That's
so I haven't actually had to go and change all these addresses with, suppliers and everything.
Fantastic. Well, look, I hope to be back soon. In the meantime, thank you so much for talking with me, Jane.
Thanks, Laurie.